To me, the rights of nature represents a different approach to humankind's relationship with natural ecosystems. Whereas a lot of Western cultures right now try and have a relationship where we view nature as something with only an economic potential and something to be manipulated and something to be profited from. And rights of nature is about going back to a more holistic approach to our relationship with nature, so that we realize that we are part of these systems and that we can only thrive on this planet if they thrive as well.
So to me, rights of nature, when I think of that, I feel like today we give rights to a lot of things that didn't used to have rights in the past, like corporations, and it's sort of like a buzzword that everyone's talking about. I have a right to freedom, especially in America, a right to marry, and we're sort of put aside the right that the natural world has. And I think it's also really related to our rights. So to me, rights of nature is sort of recognizing the rights that we've pushed aside.
So what do the rights of nature mean to me? It means that we're going to respect and honor the gift that we were given of this earth.
So when I think of rights of nature, a way I conceptualize it is thinking about violence that occurs between people and warfare between nations. And so warfare occurs a lot of times because we don't understand the language and the culture and other fundamental aspects of people we are going to war against. And I think a similar thing is occurring between humans and nature. The things that we're doing to the earth right now, extracting resources from it, those are acts of massive violence and massive injustice, but we don't speak the earth's language. We don't understand what it needs, how its systems work, and we think it's silent in the face of the egregious acts that we're committing against it. And so rights of nature is so fundamentally important because it can act as an intermediary between humans and nature. It can articulate what the earth needs, what it wants, and defend against these massive injustices.
To me, rights of nature is the fundamental paradigm shift that we really need, because it shows that although nature traditionally has been referred to as a resource for humans to exploit, we're coming to realize that if we keep looking at it that way, there's not going to be anything left and we can't sustain our own people. But looking at the green economy and other ways of taking into account the dependency that we have on our environment, it doesn't have a fundamental enough paradigm shift to actually solve the problems that they're trying to create. But rights of nature is that fundamental reorganization of how we approach the environment that we live in that actually makes the real changes we need possible.
Rights of nature has made me realize that we can't separate ourselves from the earth and continue to put ourselves above it, because we depend on it for our survival, and if we continue to not recognize its rights, then we have no chance to sustain ourselves in the future.
For me, rights of nature isn't just about respecting nature, it's about respecting and appreciating our ancestors and also respecting our future generations.
Instinctively, when I think of the Rights of Nature Project and Global Exchange, the thing that stands out for me is just giving people the potential and the opportunity to speak on behalf of nature as an ecosystem and as a whole, and giving people the legal jurisdiction to stand up for nature in terms of, like, against corporations or other projects. So I think that that's the most important thing in this project.
The idea of rights of nature has, of course, been around for thousands of years. Indigenous cultures have had this belief that nature has rights, that it's not something to just be used and destroyed at will. But we need to incorporate that idea into our daily actions. What if corporations could be held accountable for the damage that they do to the environment based on rights of nature? How different would our world look if, for instance, say the Gulf Coast could sue British Petroleum for the damages done from the oil spill? As of right now, the only people who can sue corporations for damages are human beings whose property has been destroyed. Well, what about nature? With rights of nature legislation, we would see a whole new way of protecting the environment, and the time is now. It needs to happen.